Hi everybody. Today I will talk about how to use state in React Native components. In this lesson, I will start with what about the state. State in React Native is like a private property. Firstly, I will create a new folder, components, and inside this folder, I will add some of the file. For example, testbling.js. And inside this JavaScript file, I will define some of the React component. And firstly, you must import the component, for example, test, view, etc. So firstly, we have a private class that stands from component. It is a React component. And inside this, we have a render function. We have a constructor. Constructor is an initialization function, and it is called when you create this object, and this will call the constructor and call the constructor in the parent class, the component class. And what about the state? A state is a private property, and you can change the value inside this, and you can assign the state for a new value only in this constructor. If you want to add in another place, you have to use the setter, and here you can use as this syntax. We have a key, we have value, so we have variables, etc. So we have a show text. Show text is a boolean that receives true or false, and the first is true. Then I can call the set interval. What about set interval? It is it will do some tasks for a few seconds or few milliseconds or periods of time. I can set a period of time. For example, time to blink about 100 milliseconds. And a task to do. You have a task to do. Task to do is an arrow function. So it points to an arrow function, and in the left of arrow function we have a parameter of the arrow function, and in the right of the arrow function we have the implementation or the content of the arrow function. So the reset interval means that we do the task to do with a time of 1000 milliseconds and repeatedly. Then inside the task to do, I will change the state, but you cannot assign state outside constructor. This is not allowed. So you have to use the setter by calling set state with the previous state, and this is also an arrow function. The input is previous state, and the implementation we return the new value depending on the previous state. So this is a new state. You can set a new state depending on the previous state. So it will inverse the previous state dot show text, and after the state is changed, it will render. The component will render by calling the render again and again. So I will change the text to display depending on the show text. If it is true, it gets the input text, and otherwise it gets a blank text. Yes, so the text to display will be shown to the text component. So the text component have the input parameter, and I add the object to here, the content to here inside the JSX. So what about the text blink component? It is a public component that we can call outside this file, and inside the render I will call this component the blink component. So you can clone the view and surrounded by a view, the view like a div in HTML. So I have to surround multiple component inside a view component. So the input text here is the same as input text here, because it is a property of the blink. Yes, it is a property or public property. The public property cannot be changed inside the component, and it only changes outside the component. So you can add the text. For example, you have some text, hello, how are you, for example, and you have multiple component inside a view, multiple components inside a view. So I'm fine, thank you. Okay, then what about the index? Inside the index file, I can import the component text blink from folder, current folder components slash text blink. Okay, so you copy this text blink and paste to here. Then you run the development server by run iOS. Wait a few seconds, and we have to open using the Xcode, and you run, view and run, choose your device, for example iPhone 8, and this is Y error. You have to change the function pointer. Yes, so the variable task to do is a variable, so not necessary to add the function. Okay, so it will blink for about 1000 milliseconds. So you can change the value times to blink, or you can change the timer for another second, for example 500 milliseconds. So it will automatically update, and it is faster. It is faster because you can change this periods of time. Okay, thank you very much for watching this lesson. Please subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos, or download the code in GitHub.